welcome back to Phoenix Dreams, and specifically welcome back to Fundoo Science Facts. Now before we go ahead, I want to tell you that at the end of this video there is a nice little surprise, a trivia surprise for especially for Superman fans. So please watch the video till the end to have that surprise. Right now, like I said, we're going to be moving back to Fundoo Science Facts. Very frankly, in the past few videos on SpeakWrite with Sid, we've had a bit of a merger between science and English. We've spoken a lot about animals and their crossbreeds and groups of animals. So yeah, it was a big mix, a bit of a mix of both science and English. But for today's edition of Fundoo Science Facts and Fantasies, I'm going to stick specifically to science. And we've spoken about animals quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to a different subject, to a different topic altogether. And we're going to tackle chemistry today. So this is for all you chemistry nerds, chemistry fanatics. I'm going to start with a very, very basic topic in chemistry, and this might take you all back to school. But what we're going to talk about is about elements and their chemical symbols. Now, if you've had a look at the elements in the Mendeleev's periodic table, you'll normally find that elements have chemical symbols which agree with their spellings in English. So sometimes it's a single word chemical symbol, like for example, carbon is C, oxygen is O, nitrogen is N, hydrogen is H, iodine is I, boron is B. So and at times it is two letters based on the letters in the name of the element. So Cl is chlorine, Ar is argon, Fl is fluorine, Xe is xenon, and so on and so forth. So the chemical element normally agrees with the spelling and has some aspects of that spelling in the chemical symbol. However, there are certain elements which don't quite agree with this rule. In fact, it's quite puzzling for a few people as to why a certain element has a chemical symbol which doesn't make any sense at all. And there are 11 such elements where you'll find that it is weird, it's puzzling, and we're going to have a look at these 11 elements. Which 11? Let me quickly tell you. So we're going to talk about gold, silver, copper, iron, tin, potassium, antimony, mercury, lead, tungsten, and sodium. These are the 11 elements where you would think that the chemical symbol would be, would give you an hint as to what the name is, but they're really, really far away from what the name of the element is. And this is primarily because the chemical symbols of these elements are decided not on their English names, but on their Latin names. So we're going to understand these elements and their symbols derived from Latin names, and we'll also try and understand as to why they are called, or why the chemical symbols are what they are. Right? So let's begin with the first one, which is gold. Now gold has a chemical symbol of Au. Now the reason for that is that the Latin name for gold is aurum, A-U-R-U-M, and it derives from the word aura. Whenever you have an angel, it's supposed to have a aura around it. And this aura is normally a yellowish golden in color. So the word aura in Spanish means that color, the yellowish golden color. So that metal which is golden in color was called aurum, and that's why gold has a chemical symbol Au. Similarly, silver in Latin is called argentum, and argentum in Latin simply means shiny object, and since silver is one of the precious metals and quite shiny, it is called argentum. So because of its Latin name argentum, silver has a chemical symbol of Ag. Moving on to copper. Now there is a bit of a history to this. In the ancient times, when the Roman Empire was at its height, they acquired their copper from a country called Cyprus, which at that time was known as cyprium. So because this element was imported from cyprium, it over a period of time began to be called cuprum. So copper is cuprum and has a chemical symbol of Cu. Now at times it also happens that you need to look for different chemical symbols, because there might be something else that is similar. For example, copper could have been CO, but CO was given to cobalt, so copper had to have something else, and copper got Cu from its Latin name cuprum. Moving on, iron. Iron has a Latin name of ferrum, so its chemical symbol is Fe. In similar terms, tin is in Latin called stannum, so has the chemical symbol of St. Sodium is called natrium and has a chemical symbol Na. And potassium is called kallium, so has a chemical symbol of K. Right? So we've so far talked about gold, silver, copper, iron, tin, potassium, and sodium. Moving on, there is an element known as antimony. Antimony in Latin is known as stibium, Stibium. Now, again, in olden days, antimony was used to create eye makeup or eye paint. So, stibium in Latin means a cosmetic powder. So, antimony was called stibium in Latin. So, antimony got its chemical symbol from stibium, which is Sb. Right? Then, moving on to lead. Now, lead has a very peculiar name. Lead has the Latin name is Plumbum, plumbum. Now, please understand that there is a B in this word, but the B is silent. It's plumbum. It's not called plumbum. It's plumbum, and that's why it has a chemical symbol of Pb. Now, there's also one interesting fact I would like to tell you. Now, in olden times, and even now in some stages, because of its high density, lead was used to make pipes. And those people who work with pipes and pipe fittings, because they work with lead, because they work with plumbum, that's the reason they're called plumbers. Now please understand here the B remains silent here as well. So what we call Plumber as plumbers, most of us do that. They're not plumbers, they are plumbers. The B remains silent here as well. Right? Moving on to the next element, which is mercury. Now you might happen to know that mercury is the only metal which in the natural state is in liquid form, and it's quite shiny. So because it's a liquid shiny metal or liquid silver as they call it, it has a Latin name of hydrargyrum, and that's why the chemical symbol of mercury is Hg. And the last one is tungsten. Tungsten has a Latin name, again there's a bit of a story behind this. Tungsten has a Latin name of wolfram. That is because when tungsten is extracted from its ore, its ore also contains a lot of tin, and a lot to extract tungsten, a lot of tin gets eaten up, so to say. So it's like a wolf eating up tin, and that's why it's called wolfram, and that's why tungsten has a very weird chemical symbol of W. Tungsten, by the way, is also the element that we use to make, we don't use them too often nowadays, but it is the element which is used to make the filaments in electric light bulbs, right? So these are the strange, puzzling chemical symbols and why they are called what they are called. Like I promised, I have a surprise trivia question for you. We all know Superman's weakness. We know Superman's weakness is kryptonite. Now my question to you is, does kryptonite as an element exist on Earth? And if it does, what is its chemical symbol? So think about it, do your research, find out whether kryptonite actually exists. The answer to that I will give you in the next edition of Fundoo Science Facts and Fiction, Facts and Fantasies. So please keep watching for the answer. Please keep watching, and if you like what you've seen today, please share. Thank you very much. Till next time.